The first topic, topic A in this lesson, is called monitoring an Azure SQL database using the Azure portal. The Azure portal provides multiple monitoring options which are available under the Overview Monitoring Support and Troubleshooting blade for your Azure SQL database. And we will look at each of these options in a little bit of detail. So to get there, we click on the Overview, then there's a Monitoring and Support section, and then we choose Support and Troubleshooting to get a range of options. Let's look at these in a little bit more detail. Database metrics such as CPU utilization, DTU percentage, data I/O, and other metrics can be monitored through the Overview section. The Overview section displays the DTU percentage from the past hour of an Azure SQL database in the form of a line chart. You can pin the chart on your Azure portal dashboard by clicking the pin icon in the upper right corner, and then this way you can monitor the DTU percentage as and when required. So in this demo we'll look at monitoring an Azure SQL database using the portal. Now if we go, first of all we need to find my Azure SQL database. Now you can see I've got it pinned there on the dashboard, so I'm just going to click on it. This brings up my Toy Store database, and you can see on the overview screen here we've got some performance metrics, and I can scroll back through. So we can see earlier on today there was some activity on my database. Okay, this is resource utilization. What I'm going to do here, I'm going to scroll down. We can see we've got monitoring, so we've got alerts, we've got metrics, and we've got diagnostic settings here. And then in support and troubleshooting, we've got resource health, we've got a performance overview, we've got performance recommendations, and lots of others, including query performance insights. So let's talk about these options in some detail. Monitoring database metrics. So metrics such as resource utilization, they can be monitored through the overview section. Now to see this working, you need to have some workload. So I know I had some workload a little while ago, and we can see there when my resource was being utilized, the portal was able to capture it. Now if we click on the chart itself, we're able to delve into them, and we can add metrics as well. So we can select a metric, we can look at DTU percentage, we can add that, we can see if it's an aggregation or count, a minimum or a maximum. We can add another metric, so we might want CPU percentage, and so on. We can look at the last 24 hours. We can export this to Excel, and if I click on View Classic Metrics here, it'll take us to the old classic view where I can just click on and add these in. So I can click on CPU percentage, I can click on DTU percentage, and I can click on database size for a view of those. So you can get some really useful metric information on your resource usage from the portal itself. As we stated earlier, we can create some alerts as well. Now we can create email alerts on the metrics we wish to monitor. Now to create an alert using the Azure portal, in the Overview blade, select Alert Rules under the Monitoring section. In the Alert Rules blade, add an alert, fill out the alert details to create and set up the alert. Now we can add a webhook here to the alert to take an action automatically when the threshold is reached. So for example, let's say you create an alert that sends out an email when the database size crosses the 80% used threshold. Now the administrator sees the email alert and increases the size so that customers aren't affected. However, this can be automated by creating an Azure automation job that runs a PowerShell script to increase the size of the database, creating a webhook for the Azure automation job, and then specifying the webhook in the alert definition. And then the next time the database size percentage is greater than 80%, the alert's going to send out an email notification to the administrator and trigger the webhook. This will start the Azure automation job, and the database size will be increased. So we have seen the creation of alerts previously when we were looking to auto scale our database. But if you go into the Toy Store database here, let the overview blade load up, and then I can drop down onto the alerts metric under the monitoring section. So if I scroll down a little bit, just let this load up, click on alerts, and we'll see there's an alert in here already, but I can add a metric alert if I want to. Really simple. There's a nice rule. We're going to give it a name. We're going to say DTU percentage. Okay. Everything's quite slow at the moment, so we're just waiting for that to say the name already exists. Description. I'm going to make the same as the name. MSDN platform, same resource group, and then I'm going to find my metric. So I'm going to say DTU percentage here, and I'm going to say a threshold greater than 10. Okay, and then I'm going to say notify when we're happy with that. Here over the last sort of 5 minutes, email owners, contributors, and readers, and we can add additional email addresses in here if we want to. Click on OK, and the alert will be created for us. Alert created, and there we can see the DTU is in there. Now I don't want this to fire, so I'm going to right click and edit, and then I'm going to disable my alert.